Good morning, my lovelies. It's Brekky In The Cave here on Cubcam TV. How are we doing this morning? Kicking off with something fresh from Movement and Baloo. Fresh UKG flavours. We're going international today. Gonna let you know exactly what's going on in a few minutes, because it's gonna get a few shares out there, a few tweets, Instagram stories and all that. Early morning locked in crew, please do make sure you are liking the video. Let us know where you're listening in from, all of that good stuff there. And yeah, let's have a good one. Then that's quite enough of that one. Brand new music from Movement and Baloo. That one is out this Friday, so you're getting a little exclusive play on that one. Out to my early morning locked in crew. We are live on Cubcam TV. This is Brekky In The Cave, and today we have got a very special show on the way, as I'm sure you will all be able to see. We're going to be joined by two very special guests. First of all, we're going to be joined by Burt, who will be in the building from 10:30 onwards. He's got a brand new release out very, very soon, and he's very much someone who's in this transitional period, I would say, between working between bass and UKG. He's one of many who's in that sort of a transitional stage. So we're going to be talking to him about his journey, his sort of movement around different UK music genres, and of course music as well, looking at what he's been doing during the lockdown period. As well as that, we are also going to be talking to a man like Vision Alexander. We've been playing a Vision Alexander tune for quite some time on the show now. Obviously that was the tune with Jesse Royal, and now we're going to be looking into having a full-length conversation with him, which I'm really, really looking forward to doing. We're going international this morning. It's going to be a wicked show. It's going to be really, really good to talk to different people from different genres and different sounds and different styles, and you know, that's what we really like to do here on the show. We like to really kind of look into as many things as possible. We're not a very singular platform. We are very much a multi-genre platform, looking around as many different things as possible. So what have we got on the way news-wise? We're going to be looking at the McDonald's that are reopening, because there's 1,000 reopening. Seem to be talking about Nando's and McDonald's a lot on this show. Maybe I'm just missing it. We're talking about the fact that Pablo So Escobar's brother is suing Apple for a security flaw. There we go. It's all getting very mad now. Spotify has removed the 10,000 song library, and as well as that, social distancing using robots. There we go. We never got around to that story a couple of days ago, so we're going to get through all three of these today. Out to everyone locking in this morning. It should be a very, very vibrant show indeed. So let's crack on with some good new music, shall we? This one tune I'm absolutely loving right now, if I can find it in my big list. But yeah, there we go. This one coming from the sounds of Mind Chatter. Really, really cool tune, this. Something a little bit different for here on Brekky, but that's what we're doing. We're keeping it fresh this morning, you know?
That second guess is dangerous. Tell it like it is. My kids should not know language. That shit is toxic. And it's not just what you're saying, it's the tone you put it in. The silence can be draining, the silence can be painful, the silence can be bliss. It's probably just placebo, but still it works the same. Just one touch can equal everything I bled for and everything I made. I'm sorry, I'm excited. I get chills in my face. Whatever that you lose or you gain or you make, you're the moon that controls the waves.
Good morning, Violet Crime. I'm a fan of this one as well, I've got to say.
Carried by the wind, it's a beautiful.
Locked in crew, let us know where you're listening in from. Let's get some conversation going this morning here on Brekky in the Cave. That's what we like to have. We love having a sociable chat room. Gonna let this one run through. It's just super smooth, you know. Really good way to start off the day. Before we get into our first bits of news. Going proper international today, you know. Like proper international. Like around the world and that. Fabulous stuff. Right then, out to the Locked In crew this morning. We are here on Brekky in the Cave, here Monday to Friday, 10 till 11:30. And I tell you what, we've got a couple of very, very, very big announcements dropping today. Well, one big one and then another big one we're dropping on Saturday. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff to look forward to, I've got to say. So please do keep locked to the channel. Of course, new listeners, hit that subscribe button today. We're going very, very international. We're likely to bring in a few people who haven't seen the channel before. So let's get a nice conversation popping in the chat room. So I'm going to ask a question for the silent listeners, which I want everyone to answer if they can, if they feel they want to listen in, if they want to continue helping out the channel and helping out what we're doing here on Cubcam TV. This is today's question. What song have you discovered during lockdown that has been your favourite song, the one you're obsessed with because of lockdown? Like a tune you wouldn't have found if it hadn't have been for lockdown. Let's look through those, because I'm sure there's going to be a few crackers in there. A song that you have found through having extra time, essentially because of lockdown. Let's get those conversations in. And yeah, let's get into our first bit of news this morning. It's going to be a very enjoyable start to the day, I believe. Let's look at this. Everyone's keen to know about it. So we're jumping into it. I don't care. This is how we're starting off. McDonald's in the morning. That's how I like to start things off, man. I like to start off with news that's going to excite people and please people and put people in a good mood. There we go. McDonald's is to reopen over 1,000 UK branches for drive-through or delivery by next week. We've seen the Nando's reopening, but there we go. It's now going to be opening 1,000. Although I can't see which ones they are. After reopening select stores for delivery and drive-thrus across the UK recently, McDonald's has now announced its plans to reopen 1,000 of its branches by next week. The news was revealed in the official McDonald's Twitter account, where a statement reads, all drive-thrus to reopen by 4th of June. The fast food chain also announced it would reopen 75 restaurants for McDelivery via Uber Eats and Just Eat between the 2nd and 4th of June. So it looks like McDonald's is going back to full length, like steaming ahead. I don't know why that was my description of it, but it looks like it is steaming ahead, and it looks like we are going to be having very much we're going to be seeing so many Instagram stories of people doing mukbangs. I reckon that's what it is. I might do a mukbang. Who knows? You never know. I've definitely got enough room on this table for a ton of McDonald's, and I haven't obviously had it in about 11 weeks. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see. But yeah, a spokesperson for McDonald's said we can today announce that by the 4th of June, 1,019 of our restaurants will have reopened either for drive-through or McDelivery. This means every drive-through in the UK and Ireland will be reopened by Tuesday and Thursday next week. We'll start to expand the availability of McDelivery too. Only possible following the hard work of the teams and our 44 pilot restaurants over the last fortnight. Our employees, franchisers, and suppliers have worked tirelessly to implement new procedures to ensure safe working, so that we can help parts of the UK and Ireland enjoy the return of the Big Mac. So interesting stuff. Very interesting stuff indeed, to be honest with you, because I didn't think they'd reopen this soon. Because have you ever been in a McDonald's and it hasn't been packed? And I'm talking any time of the day here. I very much can't remember a time I haven't had to queue in a McDonald's. That's something. So there's always going to be that sense of, if you're actually going into a McDonald's, they're always going to be at least partly full. There's always going to be people there. Whereas if you were to go into a drive-through, which is good, it's literally just going to be the people in your household or the people in your car. Same with McDelivery. That's the same sort of thing. So as long as they're not opening up the actual places for normal going and sitting in and eating or whatever, I have no issue with this whatsoever. But yeah, we'll see how it develops. And yeah, let's get through a couple of these songs that have been discovered. Out to Joshua Kennedy saying _ telephone line 415. Interesting. As well as that, Conal Woolston Holmes, I believe it is. Vicen with Touch. Sam Edwards with Fairy Tale Frequency. Jamie Jones. There we go. Some interesting ones in there. And do you know the maddest thing for me is there's been so much music I've discovered because of this scenario, purely because I've got more time on my hands and purely because I'm at my desk more. It means I can kind of do that extra 10 minutes scrolling through feeds. When New Music Friday drops, I can kind of look into people's back catalogues a little bit more. I'm not rushing to get stuff together. And there have been a few absolute bangers that I've kind of seen floating around that I wouldn't have necessarily seen otherwise, realistically. So I'm literally scrolling through my list now to try and find one that I wouldn't have found if it hadn't have been for this. And you know what? We're going to go with this from Your Cool. So this is the next track on today's listing, keeping things nice and vibrant. This one is Company by Your Cool. Brighton Business all the way through. Out to the Locked In crew this morning. Out to Violent Crime. Inzo with I'm Dreaming. That was the one from A Violent Crime. There we go. Everyone locking in this morning, please do hit subscribe on the channel. Obviously, every subscriber makes a huge difference. We're trying to hit 500 by the official end of lockdown. We started lockdown on 40 subscribers. We're now up to nearly 330, I think we're up to now. So we're trying to hit 500 by the end of lockdown. It's more than doable if everyone does like the videos and subscribes to the channel. And you know what? If you're feeling generous, share it on your socials as well. I know that's a forbidden thing to do these days, but you know what? Do me a favor. I'm trying to entertain people in the morning. Let's get into this one then. Don't go anywhere, guys. We're live on Brekky In The Cave.
I'm sensing light within the stars. It's emanating from your side. I keep this quiet, babe, so close to my chest. Can I see your dangerous? I spent so long trying to reach you. I realize that you're my type. It's never easy, but I'm ready for the game. Can I see we're just the same? Come on now, let's do this right. There's no limit on our time. Take control, I pause the night or rewind. Come on now, let's do this right. from far beneath you. Tables they turned just overnight. Just for a moment I was drawn in by your light, and it was such a pretty sight. Come on now, let's do this right. There's no limit on our time. Take control, I'll pause the night or rewind. Come on now, let's do this right. There's no limit on our time. Take control, I'll pause the night or rewind.
So tune you can get proper lost in this one. Sounds of Yakul with company out to my locked in crew this morning.
Before I sent you away, dreamt of a place that I ain't been before.
Lovely stuff. How are we doing this morning, my friends? We are live on Brekky In The Cave, and it's going to be a fantastic show. We've got loads of good stuff on the way. We're going to be looking into loads of different genres, of course, and we're going to be talking to Burt in around 10 minutes or so. So we're not that far away from our first guest. This morning is flying by as well. And also, please do keep in contact with all of the UK, all the Cubcam pages, all of my social pages, because we've got a massive announcement taking place this evening. Not necessarily as much to do with the channel, but definitely something that will be interesting. And then on Sunday, we've got a mega announcement for the channel as well. And it does involve some guests we've got coming on, so it's going to be a very good thing. So please do hit subscribe so you'll see more and more and more of what's going on. But yeah, let's have another little look into the news. This one looks interesting. Pablo Escobar's brother sues Apple for a security flaw. This looks juicy. Let's get into it. So, Pablo Escobar's brother, Roberto, is suing Apple over alleged iPhone vulnerabilities, and he's after a pretty penny by the looks of things. According to reports from TMZ, the brother of the drug lord has filed a lawsuit for $2.6 billion against the tech giant. $2.6 billion this guy wants because of a flaw in Apple's security. Mad. 2.6 million. What's worth 2.6 billion? Like, really? The lawsuit comes after a 73-year-old Colombian claims a security flaw on his iPhone X put his life in danger. Roberto claims when he purchased the device in spring 2018, an Apple employee reassured him that the iPhone X was the most secure phone on the market. So a man in a shop told him it, and he believed it. So, however, looking through this, the lawsuit comes... complaint... What? That doesn't make sense. No, it does. I can't read anymore. I'm losing the ability to read. However, Roberto's complaint states that he received a threatening letter from a man named Diego. Where's this going? His pen pal stated that that he apparently had claimed to have retrieved Escobar's address by hacking into the FaceTime app. After receiving the letter, Escobar allegedly carried out his own investigation to determine his device had been compromised, whether or not it had. His own investigation sounds a little bit sinister, I've got to say. We're going to do our own investigations into this, the Escobars. But yeah, Robert's lawsuit against Apple comes months after he launched the golden Escobar Fold 1 smartphone. Oh yeah, I forgot about this. The Escobars have a range of phones. They have their own phone company that are making smartphones. I completely forgot that was a thing. It was in the news a couple of months ago, before all this madness kicked off. But yeah, this is the second time he's tried to sue a major company after he reportedly filed a $1 billion copyright lawsuit against Netflix after the distribution of Narcos. See, that makes more sense. I can definitely understand that a little bit more. But yeah, moving kind of forward, I don't know. Would you sue Apple for $2.6 billion because the phone wasn't as secure as you thought it would be? I don't know. And why are they using iPhone X's anyway if they've got their own phones? Doesn't really make sense, this story, to be honest with you. I feel it may be being exaggerated, but I can understand the $1 billion copyright lawsuit against Netflix for Narcos. I can understand that because it's what's the name? It's almost like trashing the family name, which I can understand. Although, like, it's from what I've read, it's quite accurate in a lot of places. The first season, especially, of what actually happened over in Colombia. But I can understand why that is more likely to get more likely to be valid of a lawsuit. Whereas looking at suing Apple for a phone not being as secure as you thought it would be for 2.6 billion. Mad. I don't know if there's anything I could spend 2.6 billion on. I don't think football clubs are worth 2.6 billion, to be honest with you. That's how mad it is. Anyway, let's get into some new bangers, shall we? This one coming from Ling Hustle. New music from her. This one dropped yesterday. Was it yesterday, or this one dropped either yesterday or Tuesday? I'm not too sure. Maybe even over the weekend. So let's crack on with this.
Break up, yeah. Dinner and no boo, I ain't in no mood to hear about your mistakes. I don't wanna hear how you made shit work. Now she's in your room, watching your story. 4 o'clock in the morning. Said you was busy doing something important. My fault. Took those Chris and Dior's from you. Tell her you love her, but you saying you love me too. Was it real? I know she don't make you feel how I make you feel. Did you lie? All the time that you said I would be your wife. Did you stay? Promise me you were done, you would walk away. What's it worth? Always put me last and I always put you first. Was it real? I know she don't make you feel how I make you feel. Did you lie? All the time that you said I would be your wife. Did you stay? Promise me you were done, you would walk away. What's it worth? Always put me last and I always put you first.
Wicked new one from Ling Hustle. This one, Real. It's out now, I believe.
Love my girl way too much.
I can only be mad at myself. Always knew you had someone else, but I thought all the jewels, all the bags, all the shoes, you showed me how you felt. How could I ever take you serious? Looking back at it, the shit's hilarious. I guess you tried to play with me. Yeah, I guess you had your way with me. Was it real? I know she don't make you feel how I make you feel. Did you lie? All the time that you said I would be your wife. Did you stay? Promise me you were done, you would walk away. What's it worth? Always put me last and I always put you first. Was it real? I know she don't make
Wicked flavours on this one.
Did you lie? All the time that you said I would be your wife.
Gotta say, slightly difficult multitasking on this show these days.
Promise me you were done.
Facebook sharing. Oh my word, what a minefield this is.
What's it worth? Always put me last and I always put you first.
Trying to get the stream into as many different groups as possible, trying to get live tweets out there. We're doing a lot, man. We're doing a lot on the show. We're trying to keep it as professional as possible. Good morning, Misper, my friend. How are you doing this morning? I love seeing that. I love it when Misper appears. It always puts me in a good mood. And I hope we do the same at his end, but there we go. Let's kind of crack on with some more news then before we get into this conversation with our good friend Burt Cope. I'm really looking forward to the conversation. So we're going to talk about Spotify beforehand, obviously. Always in the news these days, Spotify is, for some reason or another. But yeah, after high demand, Spotify has removed the 10,000 song cap that they placed on a user's library size, allowing them to add as many songs and as many albums as they want. Now, interesting, but who has 10,000 songs? Let's be real here. Let's kind of break this down. How many artists in the world at this point have 10,000 songs that they would want to have online? Let's genuinely think about it. If we're talking, I think there might be a few reggae artists that have it. Realistically, like people who will cut over everything. I don't think there's any grime artists that will have that many. Maybe some grime producers. Maybe. Maybe some hip-hop heads, like older hip-hop heads, but 10,000 songs. Let's actually break that down. Let's say you're making a song a day. And I'm going to embarrass myself entirely here with the maths, but let's just say you're making a song a day. That's, let's take weekends out of it, so that's 5. So that's 260 a year. As far as I'm aware, if you're making a song a day in the week. So that's 260 a year. So that's... I'm going to embarrass myself here, but I think that's I think it's around 1,300 for 5 years. So that means you've got to be doing at least 8 of that to have that. Which, to me, just, I can't imagine anyone doing that ever. So I don't really get why they've done this, unless it's for unless it's for labels, perhaps, to do. That would make more sense if it's for labels. But yeah, let's dive into the actual story a little bit more, because I'm a little bit confused about this one. The streaming service has more than 50 million songs in its catalogue and has always set a cap on what customers could save to their Your Music collection. For years, users have bet. Oh, it's for users. Oh, that's why. There's me being an idiot. That's what that is. That's me not reading ahead and not doing my research and forming an opinion based on utter nothingness. So I apologise. That's on me. Sorry. For years, users have begged for the limit to be removed, but Spotify has always been pretty resistant in doing so. The news was broken by Spotify in a community post writing, Spotify started rolling out an unlimited library experience, meaning they're removing the limit on saved items in a user's library. There we go. That makes a lot more sense. That does make a lot more sense. Back in 2017, the company said, at the moment, we don't have the plan to extend the music limit. The reason is because less than 1% of users reach it. Judging by the turnaround, it now looks like enough Spotify users have reached a 10,000 limit, which that does make sense, because over time you're obviously going to click yes. On this, you could add maybe 10, 20 songs a week. Now that does make sense. That you could have that reach that point in maybe 3 years, and Spotify's been around for a hot minute, so that does make sense. But yeah, however, individual playlists are still currently limited to 10,000 items, so the unlimited number only applies to the option to save songs to your Spotify library, but individual playlists are still only at 10,000 items. But yeah, that's cool. The company has also stated that it might take some time to roll this out to all customers, so don't be worried if you can still see the limit on your account for the time being. Interesting stuff, good stuff. Out to Mispa saying, Scream. Apparently Scream has 10,000 songs. That would make sense. I mean, Scream is definitely someone who I can imagine sitting in the studio for that period of time. And yeah, to be fair, Scream's a shout. You've got me on one. You've got me on a clear one, Miss, but well done. Yeah, I would agree. Scream probably does have 10,000 songs. Let's get into this one next then. Really, really cool tune. This one from Forward and Dakota 6. This one's doing the rounds in numerous sectors, but obviously primarily the D&B sector. It's getting some amazing play. I saw Friction playing this the other day. I saw Wilkinson playing it, so this is really, really good. Got a lot of time for Dakota 6. Really, really cool vocalist. Really good to work with as well. So, yeah, let's get into this one. We're live on Cubcam TV. It's Brekky in the Cave. And in just a second, we're going to be jumping on the phone with a man like Burt Cope. So don't go anywhere. Hit like on the video and subscribe to the channel, of course. Fantastic stuff on this one coming from Dakota 6 on the vocals, Forward on the production. Wicked tune, this one, How. We don't play much Liquid on the show, but it's a banger, so, you know, that's what we're going to do. I'm going to be getting on the phone with Burt Cope in just a second. New listeners, hit that subscribe button, of course. You can request songs, my friend, Bernal. Whether I have them or not is a completely different question. I tried to stay up to date. Yeah, let's get on the phone with Burt Cope then. Right then, friends, we're back inside the building. This is Brekky In The Cave, and we are jumping into the conversation with our first guest of the day. Man like Burt Cope joins us on the end of the phone. How are you doing, my friend? Are you all good, sir?
I'm very good. How are you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Thanks for jumping on. Obviously, it's a busy time for a lot of people, and then just kind of looking through what you've been up to. It's obviously quite a period of growth for yourself in regards to sort of like sound and stuff like that. So I thought this would be a good interview to get on the table. So yeah, how are you finding things in general? How have you been finding lockdown?
Up and down, really. Like I've had a lot of time to work on new music, which is sick. I started a new job, finished that recently though, and obviously the sort of laws have been, become more lenient, so I have seen a few friends recently, but before then it was pretty lonely. But yeah, it's not too bad, up and down, I guess.
Okay, like in regards to sort of like the music side of things, then have you been cracking on with anything behind the scenes with the spare time, or have you been sort of more struggling for inspiration because of the current scenario?
Yeah, I'd say so. I've been doing quite a lot of music, a lot of remixes in the way, and then lots of tracks.
Okay, cool. Like with your sort of production, then obviously you're someone who is, I'd say, more primarily known for that more kind of I'd say more sort of niche bassline sound. But obviously you're someone who is definitely expanding. You've been working more in D&B. You've been working in garage more recently. Like let's go back to the beginning. We always like to go back to the beginning on these interviews. Like let's hear about like the sort of early days. Like what was the thing that got you first interested in making music in general?
I'll say I've always just been fascinated by music, really. I've always been like a music enthusiast. And then when I was hearing these sort of electronic sounds from like a young age, like the Prodigy, Pendulum, stuff like that, I think I wanted to be able to create them sort of sounds myself. And I think I ended up just looking for a way to do that, and that's when I found my first studios and started cracking on with that, really.
Okay, like so how would you describe like the sort of earliest sounds you were making then?
I don't know, just sort of experimental, really. I didn't really have a specific genre or sound. I still don't to this day. It's always sort of been more of an expression rather than specific, I don't know, really. It fluctuates, I guess, but when I first started music it was definitely more like beats rather than tracks, I'd say.
Okay, like so beats in regards to stuff for people to vocal, or just sort of
yeah.
Okay, like so who were the early inspirations then?
I used to listen to like a lot of Flume, stuff like that, obviously like a lot of garage as well. The Prodigy, as I said, Pendulum, stuff like that. Flux Pavilion as well. Like I used to listen to a lot of that sort of dubstep, like Circus Records.
Okay.
That sort of stuff.
Wicked. Like I think the whole idea of it as well, with that sort of sound there, especially with yourself in the sort of period you kind of came up in. I feel that it was really like a real kind of mixing pot of different sounds and genres. It was actually quite difficult to pinpoint what the genres were.
Yeah, true.
So with yourself then, obviously you've been producing now for, so how long is it now that you've been producing?
So I started producing when I was like 14 and I'm 21 this month, so Yeah, I'm really bad at maths.
So it's about 7 years, unless my maths are absolutely dreadful.
Yeah.
I always get nervous about doing maths on live shows. I've got to say, I end up making an absolute tit of myself. But so 7 years, and I feel really the last sort of like 2 to 3 years is when we've really kind of seen you expand and grow and start to really become an entity within sort of UK music as quite like a lively producer. And one thing I do notice about the majority of the music you make is there's a lot of energy in the composition and in the structure and in the sound. That you always make stuff that makes people move. Is that a conscious decision, or is it something you spend a lot of time kind of trying to push into the production?
I'd definitely say I'm more motivated when it comes to sort of making music, which I can see will have a sort of reaction in a crowd or an audience or online. Like if it's sort of something that will stick with people, make them dance, make them shout, like rather than just sort of something chill. I find it's more fun to make things that will give people like a reaction, I guess.
Okay, like I mean, so you, in that sort of respect, then you're definitely making stuff that you feel is more built for the dance. Obviously, it's dance music, but it's music that is built for DJs to play. Yeah,
I'd definitely say I have more fun and enjoyment making music which is for dancing and like high energy sort of stuff, I reckon. Okay,
like so sort of growing up then in regards to, we'll go back to influences slightly here. Where are you based currently? Oxford. Okay, cool. So, would you say that was something that was in the sort of was that stuff that was dance music the sort of stuff getting played off phones in Oxford at the time? Like, obviously, we're going back a little bit of time here when music was still getting played off phones. But like, was that the sort of stuff you were being influenced by that was around you?
Yeah. So like, people would be Bluetooth and like dubstep and stuff at school. Like, I'd say so, definitely.
Nice.
But not as much as like other places like up north. But Oxford still had a very sort of big, well, in my experience anyway, quite a big like dance music upbringing.
Okay, cool. I mean, it's interesting to hear about different places because obviously we do always hear about like Sheffield, we hear about Birmingham, we hear about the North in general when it comes to more sort of 4x4 UK dance music that isn't house, essentially. That it seems to all be quite North based. So to then kind of hear about other places where the sort of pockets of the sound were popping up, it is really kind of cool to hear. And then obviously you've kind of taken things. You see, that's the even weirder thing about this is I'd say you've definitely taken a more sort of northern approach to your sort of sound.
Yeah. I mean, like I've played in up north quite a lot, and I feel like the vibe there is a lot different to down south. Like it's more friendly, more vibrant in some aspects. I think that definitely comes across in a lot of the music I make because I sort of want to appeal to that sort of vibe more, I guess.
Yeah, I mean that does make sense, and I think in general as well, I think once you first start experiencing those dances in certain places, you do definitely take away like the energy from it, I've got to say. And it's really, really cool to see. I mean, kind of, we'll move on to gigging more specifically in just a second, but I mean, it's quite. I mean, how we actually met is quite an interesting story. I thought we may as well throw that out there on the line. So obviously you were down. Yeah, you were down in Brighton, and there was a bit of a day festival going on the beach.
Yeah, on the beach.
Like someone had set up a sound system on the beach, and then run me through how that night went. What was your experience of Brighton?
That wasn't the first time I've been Brighton. I've been quite a few times prior, but that was definitely one of the times I've been which has stuck with me. Like obviously the beach party, and then I played at Volks in the evening as well. It was a nice sunny day, and I obviously linked up quite a few people, including yourself. Yeah, I do love Brighton. It is a sick place, very good hub for music and like socialising.
Definitely, man. I look back on fond memories of that night as well. I think the maddest thing I remember about it is I think it was myself and PVC ended up hosting like the D&B half of your set, which was an absolute madness. But then that does kind of summarise what the sort of Brighton's about, really. Very much just getting involved and that sort of community element. But like in your sort of like travels around, then let's kind of look at the sort of gigging side of things, because you are someone that gigs quite a fair bit, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. Obviously, prior to the lockdown, I'll say I've been quite busy with that.
Yeah. Okay. So, obviously, looking at the different sort of places you've played, then, like, where was a city you've been to that you that were quite surprised by the reaction?
There was one quite recently. I can't remember that's annoying. It was with Mr. Traumatic and Blackery. I can't remember what it was, but it was really like, I didn't think it was going to be that good, but the venue was crazy.
Okay. What we'll do is we'll move on and see if we can actually see if we can think of the place.
I've got it. Sorry, it was Lincoln.
Lincoln. Oh, okay. There
I'm
we go.
awful with names.
Yeah, no, it's fine. So Lincoln was the one that stood out. That's a madness, you know. But yeah, I think kind of when we look at different clubs around the UK, obviously it's a very interesting thing. Now, obviously, if you're kind of Oxford based, like, were you going to the Cellar much when it was still open?
Oh yeah, all the time. Cellar was definitely the sort of hub for music in Oxford, and Oxford has sort of sadly died in a sense since it's gone. But yeah, I did the last event there as well, which sold out. It was sick.
Yeah, I mean, it's a sad thing to kind of look at all these kind of venues that are going as well. Not to try and take like the tangent too far left, obviously, but like we're seeing, I think it was Lakota's going. We've seen we've seen a couple in Brighton go recently. Like, it is a sad thing, and I think like,
it really is.
How important do you think like venues like the Cellar in Oxford are in regards to building underground culture?
Well, obviously from my own experience, the Cellar basically built me, and I know there'll be loads of other artists in future, in times to come, that probably won't be the same without certain venues they've played in or done events in or met people in. So I think it is quite like saddening that people aren't going to get to experience these things and be shaped as artists because they haven't got the platform that they need, in a sense.
Definitely, man. Like, I mean, in regards to Oxford, like, are there many other places that are doing a similar thing, or was that very much like the go-to?
So that was pretty much the go-to, but there is a couple other venues, but they're not the same at all, really.
Okay. I mean, it is a sad thing, and obviously we I don't want to linger on the sad side of things. We are here to kind of lift people up in the morning, but it's always good to kind of like open up and talk about venues, because obviously venues hold a special place in people's hearts. Like there are venues that I've played that aren't there anymore, and that's always something that makes me quite sad to think about. And obviously memories are made in venues, and I don't think it is something that actually we obviously talk about. They're tearing down the venues, wow, but we don't really talk about why the venues are important to people as much as the sort of business side of things. But yeah, let's run through the chat quickly. Out to Second to None Music, Vital Techniques are inside. Good morning, guys. How are you doing? Out to Sam Edwards, out to Bernal, out to Miss Digest, out to Joshua Kennedy, out to Violent Crime as well, out to Conal, out to to everyone locking in this morning. I know Papa D's in there somewhere. And yeah, it's been a good start to the show this morning. I'm really enjoying this conversation. So what we're going to do is we're going to jump into one of the new tunes that we've got sent over, and then we're going to get into a conversation more about sort of upcoming releases, what's on the way for yourself, and a few other bits. So let's jump into this one from yourself. Goes by the name of Come Home. Talk to me about this tune, how it came together, where people can grab it, all of that good stuff.
So this one is a free download, and it's also on Spotify for your streaming needs. It is on Wob Club, which is a great collective label and events company based in Sheffield. They also do things in Leeds, obviously Bass Fest, stuff like that. Really good boys. And this tune itself is a very feel-good sort of garagey tune with a big vocal. I've had it like lined up for quite a while, and I thought lockdown, everyone needs a bit of like picking up. I thought it was probably the best time to release it, especially with the good weather.
Wicked, man. Well, proper sunshine flavours then, and that's what we're looking forward
100%.
to. Good stuff. Right, we're live on the line with Burt Cope. This is Brekky In The Cave. New listeners, please do hit that subscribe button. We're trying to hit 500 by the end of lockdown, and we can only do that if you all subscribe. So please do hit like on the video as well. Let us know how you are feeling. Any questions for Burt Cope, please put them in the chat. We will get to them at the end of the interview. But yeah, let's get into this one. Come Home, out now. Lovely flavours on that one coming from Burt. We're live inside the building. Out to the Supersize UK crew locking in. I'm really enjoying this conversation this morning. I like to kind of dig into venues and what's going on, and obviously looking around the UK to different stuff and different themes, different vibes. That's what we like to do here on Brekky In The Cave. So as I said before, please do hit that subscribe button if it's your first time locking in. We're like this Monday to Friday, 10 till 11:30. And there's a little subscribe button for you to press. So let's crack on with the conversation then in regards to yourself. So obviously moving forward, then you are now in a position where you are making a lot more music. Talk to me about the sort of transition into UKG then, because obviously when I met you, it was very much kind of niche sounding bassline and D&B were the two things you were very much pushing on with. So what was the thing that sort of prompted the switch more into sort of a garagey kind of vibe?
Well, the thing is, I've always sort of dabbled with garage. First tune I ever sort of properly put out was garage. Obviously, I've removed that now because it was a while ago. It wasn't very good. But I'd say in recent times, I've definitely got more into garage. I think that's just where the scene's sort of heading, really. I mean, if you go up north, it's very bass heavy. But obviously, from where I'm from, down south, it's definitely garage. And I feel like that is a very positive sort of scene happening right now.
Definitely. Like, I think, I mean, we talk about garage a lot on this show. Like, every platform I'm a part of seems to be just garage 24/7 because we are kind of living through what is a bit of a revival period for the genre. Completely. Obviously, it's, and I think at the moment we're almost in a period of the foundations being laid, I feel. We're at a point where we've had like a year and a half of sort of solid regrowth. Now everyone's kind of going, right, we're getting our label set up, we're building our catalogue, we're putting the tent poles in. And it's sick to see. And I think the beautiful thing about it is as well, how many artists are kind of I'm trying to think of the best way to describe this, but artists aren't kind of deserting their other genres and coming to garage, but people are being a lot more open to going, I'll make a garage tune alongside what they're currently doing, like yourself, for instance. So like who are the UKG names that you're kind of very like inspired by at the moment?
Well, I mean, it's the name on everyone's lips. It's Sammy Vergy, obviously. I'd say he's a big sort of inspiration. Obviously, Oxford Boy as well. A lot of other people. You got Higge's sick. Also, I'm liking what Yemi's doing at the moment as well. Yeah, there's quite a few names, too many to list currently. But,
I mean, it's sick to see. I think, obviously, listening through your sort of sound as well, I feel you definitely fit into that similar sort of bracket of bouncy garage. You know what I mean? You're very much someone who likes to have a very kind of vibrant, lively sort of style of production, and it works really, really nicely alongside the more sort of two-steppy, almost broken beat approach that a lot of people take. So, like, with your sort of sound then moving forward, like, do you feel? I asked this question to someone a couple of days ago actually, but like, do you feel more inspired to make those more sort of garagey sounds during the summer?
I'd definitely say so. It's the appropriate weather for it, isn't it? You can just imagine like people in the park with a Stella and a Bluetooth speaker. It just sort of fits the vibe more. Like in winter, you might be listening to garage in the car or at a rave or whatever, but like in summer, it's essential sounds, isn't it, really, garage? Like the vocals, the drums, the chords, like it's a very summery sound.
Definitely. Like the thing that I always find as well, the interesting one that I've always I find myself a question that I find myself tumbling across is I think it's very, very bizarre when you find people who don't like either garage or reggae. I think they're the two genres that, like, if you don't like either of those, I think I'm going to struggle to trust you, realistically.
100%. It's like easily listening, isn't it?
Yeah, entirely, man.
Very pleasant.
I think as well with garage, the thing that does make it quite interesting is it's a very UK genre. It's a genre of music that the UK is so proud of, and it's definitely something that the flag gets sort of flown with overseas a lot of the time. You see garage heads very much being like, this is a very sort of popular brand of UK music, and it's a brand of UK music that doesn't really ever, not necessarily be at the top of the list a lot of the time, but it's definitely a genre of music that's never died, I'd say.
Like resurgences, it's like come back and forth, but it's always remained there, especially within like UK culture, I'd say.
Definitely, man. Okay, cool. Let's kind of like move on to what you've been doing release-wise then. Like, how's the last year been in regards to putting music out there?
So I'd say the last year has been quite slow, and I think that is mostly down to me not being aware of what I want to do with certain tunes. Like, Come Home, that was like a 2-year-old tune, and I wasn't sure what I wanted to do, whether I put up as a free download on my own SoundCloud or give it to a label. and that's always the case with music, so it's always quite slow. But as soon as I get stuff locked, it is quite a quick process after then. So yeah, so this year I've only had Come Home coming out, but I've got another tune coming out next month and the month after that. So it's looking to get in there, yeah.
Wicked, man. I mean, let's talk about this this tune that we've seen. Then obviously we spoke a little bit about Come Home already, but we do have a track which is on the way, as you said. At the I believe it's around the start. It's around midway through next month, and it does go by the name of Desire. So talk to me about this tune. Like, how did it come together? What's the general layout of it?
So Desire, I was never really sure what direction the tune was going in for release anyway, but the tune itself is more like an instrumental. I wasn't sure whether I wanted to have like an MC spit over it or if it was going to be used in some sort of like media production for someone, but I'm pretty happy with how it's all sort of panned out, because it is a great track. It's a sort of feel good sort of grime / garage track, which I feel is quite good because it shows versatility in what I do and what I like to do as well.
In regards then to how you put music together, then do you actively try to make stuff that sounds different?
Sometimes, yeah. I think with sound design and sort of structure and stuff, it's always good to sort of go outside of what most people are doing, or at least try to anyway. Even if it does come down to sounding like similar to what you've made before, at least like the intention's there to do something different, I guess. Okay, cool. So what we're going to do then is we're going to run through a bit of a Q&A before we get into Desire, which is how we're going to finish up this this interview, which has been really fun, to be honest with you. It's flown by as well. Jesus. But yeah, let's run for a bit of a Q&A then. This is a section of the show that I really enjoy. I like throwing random questions at people. So, what was your favourite rave to play last year? Last year, I'd probably say, see, this is the thing, I'm really bad with names. I'd say Sammy Veggie Basic.
Okay. How come?
It's got the energy. It's just a great tune.
Obviously. Oh no, I mean, what rave was your favourite to play? What actually? What event?
I'd say probably Bass Fest New Year's Eve.
Okay, like how was it playing at? Is that the first time you've played a New Year's Eve party?
No, that is the second time. First time was in Oxford. Yeah, that was the second time.
Okay, so like, how do you find that sort of process of playing a New Year's Eve party then? Because obviously it's quite like a big thing to kind of live up to the hype, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, there's a fair amount of pressure. Obviously, if I was playing like the midnight slot, it'd been a lot worse. But no, it wasn't too bad really. It was a lot of fun. It's obviously quite a social like gathering as well. So yeah, it's good.
Wicked, man. Okay, cool. Next on the Q&A question, let's get into this one. One vocalist you would like to work with more than anyone else, and one producer you would like to collaborate with.
Vocalist, I don't know. Person to collaborate, I'd definitely say Flavor D.
Okay.
And then vocalist, I'll probably say Georgia Smith.
Oh, that makes sense. And I think as well for the sort of vocal, you make quite vocal heavy garage a lot of the time. There's always like nice little snippets and stuff like that in there. So to do it like with an original vocal would be quite cool, I feel.
Yeah, definitely.
Wicked. Okay, next on the list, one artist outside of the genres you're involved in that you are a fan of to listen to.
I listen to a lot of rap music, like people like SL, people like that. Like I do like my rap music as well.
Okay. You gonna give me one name?
Of a tune or an artist?
An artist.
Outside the genre, I'd say Young Bane is another one.
Oh, Young Bane. Yeah, go on, my son. I'm a massive Young Bane fan. I love what Young Bane does. But yeah, there we go. I love finding that out about people, because it's quite often you'll find that your sort of musical interests are actually quite aligned with people outside of genres as well, which is always cool to do. Right then, dude. We're going to finish up in just a second by jumping into Desire. So first of all, I want to kind of hear what's the future plans for yourself? Like, what's next for Burt?
Future plans, I say, finish off a lot of music, try and get some releases down, experiment with like more genres and styles, and hopefully post-lockdown be smashing up raves again.
There we go. That's what we want. You know, we want to go back into a place where there are a lot of good bubbling dances on the way. And yeah, well, dude, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you on the show this morning. One time, what's the best social media tag for people to get you on?
So Facebook at Burt Cope, Insta at Burt Cope. Don't really use Twitter anymore, but yeah, SoundCloud at Burt Cope.
There we go. Good stuff. Let's get into this one then. This one goes by the name of Desire. Perfect way to round off what's been a very, very enjoyable conversation this morning. Dude, it's been an absolute pleasure, and we'll speak soon.
Thanks for having me.
No worries. Let's get into this one then. As I said before, this one is Desire from Burt Cope. A little bit of an exclusive. It drops next month, so when it actually lands, make sure you do go and grab it. We're going to run this one and then get onto the phone with man like Vision Alexander. I'm really looking forward to this conversation. So yeah, should be a fantastic rest of the show. All new listeners, please do make sure you're hitting that subscribe button. Let's get the channel up to 500 subs before the end of lockdown. We started off with 40. We're now around 330, so we're over halfway there. So yeah, keep supporting the channel, and we'll speak to you in just a second. then, friends, we're back inside the building. This is Brekky in the Cave. How are we doing this morning? A massive shouts out to Burt Cope for joining us for the last 30 minutes or so. But now we're moving on to our second guest of the day. Man like Vision Alexander joins us on the phone. How are we doing this morning, my friend?
Wagwan, England. You don't know how to building.
How you doing, my friend? How's things with you?
Oh, things are good, man. You know, things are blessed despite all what's going on in the world right now. But we have life, right? So we still have to give thanks, yeah?
Yeah, that's what I like to hear, man. That's what I like to hear. So, obviously, this is one of the first sort of bigger international calls we've had on the show. So, first of all, thank you for taking the time out of the day. Like, what time is it where you are?
It's
now 6 o'clock, man.
Oh, there we go. Sick. I mean, thank you for getting up nice and early. Then that's it's very, very much appreciated.
Oh, no problem, man. I was in the studio, you know, so trying to make some more music for you guys over there, you know. So
that's what I like to hear, man.
It's an honor to be on your show.
Oh, thank you. It's an honor to have you on. Let's crack on then, because obviously with these interviews, we like to do things quite linear, like get a bit of background on yourself and kind of like understand where your music comes from more than anything else. So, like, what was the first thing that got you interested in being a vocalist?
Well, I mean, growing up in Kingston, Jamaica, you know, where reggae music was invented, it's very hard not to want to do music. You know what I'm saying? Like, in Jamaica, there's a saying, there's like, your family is either a top notch, you have a wicked volley shot, or you make a reggae song that's hot, you know? That's wicked though. To kind of like, can you just kind of describe to me, like, obviously as someone who hasn't grown up in Kingston, like what it's like growing up in such a historic and musically influential place? Well, I mean, growing up in Jamaica, you know, being a third world country, like, you know, Jamaica is beautiful people, you know, we as small as we are as a country, you know what I'm saying, like everywhere in the world, we definitely touch certain places in the world because of who we are. Growing up in Jamaica and doing music is very competitive because everybody has talent. Like, if Jamaica was supposed to start a major record label in Jamaica, you'd have so many A&Rs and they would bring in talent all over because everybody in Jamaica has an ear for music, no matter what type of music it is. I don't know if everybody saw that clash with Bounty Be a Man the other day on the Versus live, you know, and it just showed you the versatility. Like, they started to play like a deep house type of track, and those guys just freestyling it just like that. It wasn't rehearsed. So it just goes to show you that in Jamaica, you really have to be skilled with music. You really have to take music seriously because we in Jamaica, we want to make a joyful noise unto the world.
Definitely, man. I think the thing as well is, obviously in England, it's not necessarily discussed as much as it should be, but I've been seeing a lot of tweets floating around about it recently, which has kind of brought it more to the sort of mainstream. Obviously, clash culture is such an important element in Jamaican music, and essentially all the genres that have come from it. When we kind of look at obviously a lot of the UK genres, i.e. garage, i.e. grime, even hip hop to an extent as well. These are all genres that are born out of clash culture. Like in Jamaica currently, is it still? How are the feelings towards these genres? Do you know?
Well, clash culture is definitely something that's still in Jamaica. Like clashing is just a part of it. Like, that's why we have such great artists and great DJs, because you always have to be sharpening your knives. You know what I'm saying? There's always going to be a competition. And in terms of like, you know, how we look at other genres, we love genres because there's many people that come to Jamaica, like, to come learn the new dances, to be a part of the culture. So we love to make music that is world friendly. Because at the end of the day, now, that's what reggae music is, you know? Reggae music is that spice, is that variety, you know what I'm saying? It's that it's hard to have other musics and I'd have a little pinch of reggae in it. Definitely. Just like you're cooking, you know, you have your salt and your pepper. You can't go anywhere without a little bit of salt, a little pepper. Definitely. And that's what reggae music brings. And we, as reggae artists, reggae producers, Jamaican music, we know that we have a big responsibility to make music that is world friendly. Definitely. So me, on the hand, I love collaborations with artists outside of my genre. Like, I love working with different producers. I really, you know, trust me, that means the world to me, because it now makes my music get to another territory, another place where it's supposed to go.
Definitely. And I think as well with your sound, we're gonna get a lot more into the sort of collaborations and a lot of the artists you've been working with as we move forward. But I feel your sound and your kind of vocal tone specifically definitely do lend themselves to like quite a wide variety of things as well. And as you were saying in regards to reggae music being that kind of spice that is sprinkled around in into different genres. I definitely feel, again, especially in the UK, obviously with a real kind of rise in sort of like dancehall and more sort of Afrobeaty sounds as well, we're definitely hearing a lot of these original sort of reggae themes and flavors being sprinkled into everything from underground music all the way up to sort of top level pop music now. Like it's again, I'm gonna ask a couple more questions about obviously that more sort of Jamaican experience, because it's obviously something I don't know, so it's something I'm quite keen to hear about. But in regards to like seeing how impactful especially dancehall now is worldwide, like again, what's the general kind of feeling over there?
I'll say that question again. I'm sorry, man.
What's the general kind of feeling over there in regards to dancehall being such a popular genre?
Well, dancehall, like, you know, the thing about the whole dancehall thing is that many genres take a piece of dancehall, you know, and there's always a confusion between dancehall and reggae. You know, at the end of the day, now it's the same thing. You know, it's the same family. But what happens is that many genres take some of the dancehall and don't give credit to the dancehall. You know, and that's one of the things that we as a genre have to work on, because it really falls down to the business. There's many samples that artists might use or DJs have used in the past to make millions and haven't given the Jamaican artists their credit, or even the musicians. So it's a thing where dancehall should be on the top. But I always say, and we could have this for another discussion, you know, it has to start within us as a genre, because you look at reggaeton. Reggaeton means big reggae. Reggaeton, they take so many elements from reggae, but reggaeton came together as a community to the point they have their own Grammys.
Wow.
You know,
definitely.
Now you look at Afrobeats. Afrobeats came onto the scene because they just said, you know what, this is our music. We're gonna do it, and like for example, Davido. When Davido first came out, I used to like really study his style and all of these artists in Africa, and Davido would not have his music available for the West. Like, so when he puts a new video out, it would be for Africa first, and then it would then go to England and then come to the West. Definitely. So it's a level of pride we should have in our music in Jamaica as well, because it plays such a major role in so many other genres. We should also take that type of pride, and it just falls down to the business. But that's a whole different topic, you know.
Of course, man. I think it is something that can be discussed for hours and hours and hours. And as I was saying, obviously in the UK, there's no real denying the impact that Jamaican music has had on UK culture to an extent. I mean, obviously, grime being what it is a direct descendant of system culture and what system culture brings. So to obvious everything from the sort of slang that gets used, from the fashion, everything is a direct descendant, and it's definitely something which I think now more so is definitely being talked about, that this genre, that obviously the grime is a direct descendant, and you have to kind of give kind of praise to where it's due, and obviously say like, look, we are grateful for this happening. And I don't think it used to happen enough, but now I definitely say, obviously with information being a lot more available, it is definitely on the way up. But as I said, we can get into that conversation for absolutely hours and hours and hours, which I don't want to fill this entire thing, because we're here to talk about Vision Alexander, of course, and we're here to talk about what you're doing right now. But that was an amazing intro. So let's kind of look then into the sort of projects you're working on. We're going to run a tune from yourself first of all. This one goes by the name of Jammin'. So talk to me about this tune, how it came together.
Well, Jammin', at the time when I wrote Jammin', I was actually I got in some trouble here in the States. You know, I was on probation. And I couldn't go home. I couldn't go back to Jamaica. Most of my family is from Jamaica and England, which is crazy. And I couldn't go home. You know, I play football. I mean, you know, I know they say soccer here in America, but I'm a footballer, so I was on a scholarship.
Oh wow.
Over here. Yeah. So I couldn't go home because of legal issues. So I took to the pen and I wrote about every aspect of Jamaica that I loved, what I missed.
Amazing.
And the song was very personal for me. Like, you know, the song I'm talking about, the food, playing soccer scrimmage on a Sunday with your friends, you know, skins versus shirts, you know, one love, take off your side. Like, I'm going into the things that I love about Jamaica. And I never thought the song would blow up that much, because I just thought I was just writing a song just because, you know, but Mojo Morgan from Morgan Heritage, bless up to Morgan Heritage anywhere they are in the world right now. Mojo jumped on the track and gave it a feature, and the song even went further. And that song, you know, that's just about my home.
Amazing, man. Amazing. Well, we're going to get into this one now. This one is jamming. We are live on the line with Vision Alexander here on Cubcam TV. Please do hit the subscribe button. We do stream it here live Monday to Friday, 10 till 11:30 GMT. I don't know what those are worldwide. I do need to work them out if we're going to be doing more of these international shows. But yeah, don't go anywhere. It's Brekky in the Cave.
You never know where you're going in life, unless you know where you come from. Yo, FX, play that bass line. Different color clocks like the aliens in a space jam. Everywhere I go, me represent my island. Me a one Jamaica from Columbus to Shig Island. In a me Jersey, me Ray-Ban. Everywhere I go, you know I'm Jamaican. On a mission, you know, say a vision. Everywhere I go, me tell you where, yeah. I'm from a place called Strathmore Corner. Smithy and the gang we use. Back then we used to share so much laughter. Used to run boat, we coulda feed the whole corner. Me and my real friends link up on the weekends. Play ball round a land up. One love take your side off. Skins for shirts, that was a face off. Every Saturday was a kick-off. We jamming, we jamming, we jamming, we jamming, we jamming. Let me take you to the island of Jamaica. We jamming, we jamming, we jamming, we jamming, we jamming. You don't know, Judge, I love ya. We jamming, we jamming, we jamming, we jamming, we jamming. In the island of Jamaica. We jamming, we jamming, we jamming, we jamming, we jamming. The palm trees, the cool breeze. Don't know that's where you wanna be. Blue seas, jet skis, hot sexy girls all over me. Get your mind right, your vibes right. Ziggy while you sipping on some Hennessy. Kick back, listen Bob Marley. Singing song for song like it's karaoke. Reminiscing on STGC. Best years of my life, believe me. Playing ball every day used to please me. Violence in my country, it grieves me. Me and mommy watch the riots on the TV. Them almost burned down the Texaco. I was there when Jamaica beat Mexico. World Cup tour to France, let's go. We jamming, we jamming, we jamming, we jamming, we jamming. Let me take you to the island of Jamaica. We jamming, we jamming, we jamming, we jamming, we jamming. You don't know, Judge, I love ya. We jamming, we jamming, we jamming, we jamming, we jamming. In the island of Jamaica. We jamming, we jamming, we jamming, we jamming, we jamming. We are Jamaicans, not no fake ones. Different color clocks like the aliens in a space jam. Everywhere I go, me represent my island. Me a one Jamaica from Columbus to Shig Island. In a me Jersey, me Ray-Ban. Everywhere I go, you know I'm Jamaican. On a mission, you know, say a vision. Everywhere I go, me tell you where, yeah. We jamming, we jamming, we jamming, we jamming.
Right then, friends, we're back inside the building. This is Brekky in the Cave. Out to all the locked-in crew this morning. You can see there's a fair few of you. Let us know where you're listening in from in the chat as well. The motto for this show is, of course, these are unsociable times, so let's keep things sociable via this wonderful thing we call the internet here on Cubcam TV. So, Vision Alexander, it remains on the line. Again, thank you for joining us this morning. It's been really, really good to talk and get a real experience. And we were talking off mic there for a second about obviously your kind of experiences and moving around. And obviously, you're very kind of UK based.
Yes. A lot of people don't know, but I lived in England for 5 years. I was born in Jamaica, and then probably a month after I was born, I migrated to England.
Wow.
All of my family lives in Jamaica. I mean, in England. Like, I have a sister, 2 nieces that live right outside of London. And what I love about music is that music has really united me with the family that I don't know in England, and I want it to unite me more, you know? So I love when my songs play over there. I love to do interviews with England, because at the end of the day, now, a man can't know where he's going in life unless he knows where he's from.
100%.
and England definitely has has played a major role in my life. And there's certain things that I want to understand more about my past, my family's past, and if music is going to help me fulfill that, I can't wait to come to England, because this is the right time to do it.
Definitely, man. I think as well, obviously, as we were discussing earlier, definitely in the UK there is much more of an embracing, I'd say, of international music, and more so an understanding of its importance. I feel that's something that has become a lot more prevalent in a lot of the UK dances and a lot of the sort of UK DJ culture as well. So it's awesome to hear, man. And I think it's quite cool. Obviously, being someone that has kind of moved around a lot, have you kind of felt obviously with reggae being the main topic of today's discussion, like, have you felt the sort of sound has been appreciated yourself in different places?
Well, I think that the sound that I have has always been, different. At first, I didn't know if it would work for reggae, because to have reggae, you have to have that raspy Buju Banton or sound like Bob Marley for people to accept you as a reggae artist. So, I used to kind of shun away from my sound, but then, based off of the feedback that I've gotten from the years, people are just like, you have a different sound, man. You have a sound that works for reggae, it works for trap, it works for everything.
Definitely.
And I did a record with a group from London called Cardboard Foxes.
Yes.
You've ever heard about them? They did a song called Cut Me Loose, big record. So Cardboard reached out to me, big up to them, the two brothers. They reached out to me and they were like, Vision, we want to do a record with you, but we do electro house. And they're like, we don't know how would you feel about it. And I was like, of course, I'd love to do that. And we did a record called Everything's All Right. I recorded it here in the States, and they did an amazing job on the production. And the song got on the top 40 weekly charts over there.
Amazing.
And and that kind of showed me that, hey, sky's the limit.
Definitely.
Like, don't pigeonhole yourself to just one type of music. If you have a gift, just do it, work 100%. With the right producers.
100%, man. Well, what we're going to do is we're going to jump into this one quickly, and then have a little run through of this one, and then we're going to get into a conversation about obviously the tune which is smashing the charts right now. Obviously all the reggae
right
charts
now.
with exactly right now. There we go. But we're gonna get into a conversation about that one directly after this one. This one goes by the name of Everything's All Right, and we're going to get into it now, live on Cubcam TV. Hit that subscribe button.
Big up Cardboard Foxes, man. Rich, big up.
Attack it is attack. Hustler. Flip. Paper. We hustle all day so the bills can get paid. Keep a smile on my face. Who cares what they say? We gon' make it someday. Keep that smile on my face.
Used to pull 5 all day in a sauna. 2 weeks wait, paycheck boss run that. Pay me in full, cause my bills can't afford that. Diapers not cheap and me have to go get that. If it ain't about money, me I beg you just fall back. Don't let me have to make the matic get red at. Pressure was pipe and right now me well at. Me way up on the scale, yo me have to go sell that. Weigh down the pounds from the 10 to the 20s and drive around town with me car upon empty. Struggle through days and nobody would help me. Enough time the devil would try to attempt me. Full up my heart with no hate and no envy, and tell me if he bad mind the youth with the Bentley. God bring me through and him show me the glory. God show me the glory.
We hustle all day so the bills can get paid. Keep a smile on my face. Everything's alright. Who cares what they say? We gon' make it someday. Keep that smile on my face. Everything's alright. Everything's alright. Everything's
friends, we are back inside the building. This is Brekky in the Cave. That one coming from Vision Alexander. And is it Cardboard Foxes, you said?
Cardboard Foxes, yeah, man.
Amazing stuff. And again, very, very true to the point you were saying earlier about how you definitely can apply that vocal tone to so many different areas and so many different genres, and it just sound good, you know?
Thank you. I appreciate it, man. Really do. Thank you.
There we go. So let's because we've only got about 10 minutes left. I wanted to make sure we got into a nice lengthy discussion about this this next tune we're going to play, which is obviously the way that I found out about the Vision Alexander sound. This is one that landed in my inbox a couple of weeks ago, and then obviously it's grown and grown and grown from there, and it's become somewhat of a sensational tune. So let's get into this. So obviously working with Jesse Royal on Right Now, like how did the whole situation come together?
Well, so I met Jesse through my producer Sean Alric. Sean Alric is a producer he just won the Grammy on the Coffee album for the best reggae album of this year. So last year, sorry. So I got introduced to Jesse by Sean, and Jesse heard my stuff and he invited me to come to LA to work on his album. Big up Jesse Royal, by the way. Definitely. So, while we're working on his album and everything, I'm playing some of my stuff for him, and he heard this track. And then he was like, Vision, this track is a massive track. Like, this is gonna do wonders in the world. And I said, yeah, you think so? And then two twos, I look around, him and Sean are talking, and then he recorded a verse. So he gave me a lot of love and, to jump on the record. And, ever since me and Jesse just been rolling, like I've been working on my music, he's been working on his album, we've been working on each other's music together, and that's my brother, man, and I really, really thank him for the love that he showed, and everybody needs to support Jesse Royal. He has a record out now called Naughty Pablo. I was a part of that production, Sean Alric. That's a big record by Jesse right now. Lion Order featuring Protege and Jesse Royal as well. And yeah,
definitely.
Nothing but love. One link, yeah.
I mean, it's wicked to see, and obviously, with this tune kind of being as received as well as it had been, like, did you think it would pop this much?
Oh, I mean, within the camp, everybody told me that, Simon, this one is big. Vision, this one is gonna be big, and I've always put out music space-like. So I had the Right Now track, the jamming track, and then later on, then I came with that song you just heard, Everything Is Alright, got in the top 40 charts. And then I came out with a song called Right Now, which got on the Billboard charts in America. So it's like my team, who's been with me for a long time, is saying that, look, you're like one of those strikers, man. Like when you go on the field, even if it's for on the 89th minute, you find a goal, man. You find a winning goal. So we need to keep you, So they're like, we need to keep you on the field more often. Like we can't bring you on at halftime. You need to start. So now is the time in my career where I'm no longer coming on at 88 minutes.
Definitely.
I'm on the game. I'm on it, and I ain't getting subbed off.
I mean, it's wicked to see as well, and obviously, as we were talking earlier, that sort of versatility that you have in the way you kind of command your vocal and the way you can layer it over so many different things. It must be quite cool then to kind of go almost full circle with it, and then it land on a quite kind of traditional reggae sounding tune, and that be the one that hits that Billboard chart.
That was, well, the one that hit the Billboard chart was called Right Now.
Right, yeah.
Sorry, Right Time. It's crazy that I have Right Now, Right Time.
Even I'm getting confused.
Yeah. Right Time hit the Billboard charts with Jamari Morgan. But Right Now, which is the song we're talking about right now, as a reggae record, like, that record, like, we expected it to do really well, but now just the feedback that we're getting all over the world for the record. Right Now is a song that, we're talking about marijuana,
Of course.
But when you listen to the lyrics, I'm not just talking about getting bent, and just having a jolly old time. I'm talking about the fact, if you think about what marijuana had to go through to become legal in certain places. Like when I talked about 100 pound, like the hook is 100 pound of weed at my foot right now. That's a Jamaican saying when you want something at your foot, like you want something right now to come to you. So we're like, we want it at our foot. I got to see to believe it. So the song really came from a friend of mine. She had a son that he had seizures. This is years ago. And the only way that could calm his seizures was with medical marijuana. But at that time, marijuana wasn't that legal here in the States or anywhere apart from Amsterdam,
Definitely.
So she would say things to me like, man, if I could get 100 pound of weed right now, that would give me a supply for a year for my son. And that's where the idea came from. And then I just started to think about it and say, you know what? Imagine what that marijuana had to do to get to her to do good. you know. So I just described all of the routes that it had to take. Because if you think about it, even here in America had to do something quote unquote illegal for it to get its independence. Many nations did as well, you know. So I'm not trying to promote anything that's illegal, but just talking about sometimes the things it wants us to have in this world to help people in this world. Sometimes certain rules get broken, but it's for the good. And now, because of medical people, lives have been saved. It helps with depression, glaucoma, all type of seizures, all type of stuff. So I wanted to bring that to the forefront to explain the journey that marijuana had to take to get into the hands to help people, to save people.
Amazing, man. And I think as well, the thing that's so good about the way you've done this is you've obviously hit the message that you wanted to get across, and you've also done it in a way where it doesn't come across preachy. It doesn't come across like this is what people have to do. It definitely hits you in a way where it's kind of like, you know what, he's got a point.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people fighting depression right now, you know, and marijuana is something that helps them, you know, from a medicinal sense. So it's like, yeah, I didn't want to come off in a way where I'm trying to tell the young kids, hey, go now and go do something illegal because it's on a record. We got to be careful with the music we put out. So I just wanted to make it fun, you know, at the same time, but also educational. Definitely. And it comes from a real place, man. Anybody who listens to Vision, man, understand that all of my music is real. Like, it's things that I've experienced in my life. It's not made up. And I think that's what's really helping with my career, is that people can relate.
Definitely.
And I want everybody to follow me, man. Follow me on The Real Vision on Instagram so that you can actually see my life and you can see what I'm about. And then you'll realize that the music is really adding up to the person that you're hearing on the records.
Definitely, man. Well, I'll tell you what, we've nearly run out of time on today's show, and it's been this has been one of my favourite interviews we've ever done on the show. And I've got to say, thank you for taking the time out of your morning, obviously waking up nice and early to kind of, even just coming out of the studio experience, as you said you were doing, to come and talk to us here in the UK, obviously on Cubcam TV. This has been fantastic. So again, thank you, sir.
Thank you, man. I want to come back and we can talk some more and get in depth about some other things, man.
Definitely.
You know?
I'd definitely like to do that, man. We'll get one booked in the very near future to kind of carry on a few of the conversations we'd started up with. And this has been amazing. So what we're going to do, we're going to finish up with right now alongside Jesse Royal. This one is out now, doing absolute bits everywhere across the charts, and it's an amazing tune, and we've been supporting it here on Cubcam TV for a fair few weeks. And yeah, dude, it's been an absolute pleasure, and we will speak soon.
Thank you. I appreciate you. And big up Sean Alric. He's a producer of Right Now. Big up Sean Alric anywhere he's in the world, man. Blessed.
Amazing stuff. Right then, guys, this is going to be how we finish up today's show. Thank you for locking in. All of the new listeners, please do hit subscribe on the channel. Hit like on the video as well. We're trying to hit 500 by the end of official lockdown, and we're over halfway there. So we're definitely growing, and it's definitely something that I would very much appreciate if you could subscribe to the channel. So we're going to finish up with this one, and then we'll be back same time tomorrow morning for Fresh Fridays, which is going to be an amazing show. We're going to be looking through all the latest releases from the Spotify New Music Weekly, and it should be a wicked one. We're going to be joined by Duke Sky and FOM, so it's going to be a very good way to end off the week. Don't go anywhere, guys. We will see you very, very soon. Peace.
Yeah, man. Why, Sean, me I try hold it out another. You understand? But still got Papi number on my phone, isn't it? Sure. Yeah.
Oiga, papá. Apareció el fantasma, ¿no?
Oye, got.
Bueno, lo que necesite. Usted sabe que yo lo cuido. ¿Cuánto?
But I love 100 pound of greatest reach my foot right now. Now go lie that would I could right now. 100 pound of greatest touch my foot right now. Now go lie that would I could right now. Right now. Right now, right now, right now. Right now, right now, right now. Right now, right now, right now. Hear me no shine. Indigo sativa, what say you reach her? But to not heal her, still look you enough asthma. Book it for your son it come, make sure it back them sealer. Them dog and nose are good for smell out every reefer. Baxter bust it I go kick like FIFA. Me I beg you rub it down with little ammonia. God forgive me for my sins and I'm a karma. Like a old car, God you know me need a starter. Right now, right now, right now. Right now, right now, right now. Right now, right now, right now. pound of greatest reach my foot right now. Now go lie, that woulda good right now. 100 pound of greatest touch my foot right now. Now go lie, that woulda good right now. Right now, 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 right now. Yeah, me no shot.
Yo, me woulda love it have some jet fuel in the tank right now.
Yeah, man.
Now go lie, that woulda good right now. Steaming sensey by the river banks right now. You know. Now go lie, that woulda sweet right. But me there in a Texas extra frost. QP Jara dwindle down to mash. Catch 2 pen left plus 3 grams of ash. But a 6 so we there so the ratio no match. See lassie, cut an apple in a 13 piece. So me have to try my best to share it evenly. But it's tougher than putting a collar on a beat. State of emergency, wait.
But I love 100 pound of greatest reach my foot right now. Now go lie, that woulda good right now. 100 pound of greatest touch my foot right now. Now go lie, that woulda good right now. Right now, 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 right now. Yeah, me no shot. If me get it, me I work it nice and slow. Farmer tell me don't I come no more and I might not grow. So me take my time and make the profit start to grow. Take my time and make the profit start to grow. You can link me on the corner with the high grade marijuana. 24/7, you get the 7 for the 7. If you're regular, you might just get 11. One thing, I promise you, you are gonna reach there. But I love 100 pound of greatest reach my foot right now. Now go lie, that woulda good right now. 100 pound of greatest touch my foot right now. Now go lie, that woulda good right now. Right now, 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 right now. Yeah, me no shot.